A pleasant day, everyone. This is Leia Abasolo speaking, and today we are going to discuss about the cyber or digital literacy. But before that, allow me to introduce to you first my group mates. Jelani May Aguilar, Jessa Marie Anyora, Maria Jerlyn Baino, Amelina Casidor, M. Desiree Dalangpan, me, Leia Abasolo, and we are from the BTLEd 3. Now let's go back to our main topic, which is the cyber or digital literacy. So here are the learning objectives. At the end of the lesson, the students will be able to examine the ethical considerations of using digital media, demonstrate skills in the positive use of ICT, and evaluate cyber threats, cases, and media. Now let us define what is cyber or digital literacy. Digital literacy or cyber literacy is an umbrella term for the ability to use computer and digital technologies effectively. Based on the popular belief, being digitally literate isn't tied to your age or job. Instead, it's all about the skills you need to develop in order to communicate effectively and thrive in the digital era. In the 21st century, literacy skills increasingly reflect technology use and the abilities necessary to problem solve, collaborate, and present information through multimedia. And according to Eshit Alkali 2004, digital literacy involves more than the mere ability to use software or operate a digital device. It includes a large variety of complex, cognitive, motor, sociological, and emotional skills which users need in order to function effectively in the digital environments. However, the old literacies that will serve us just as faithfully in the new context, we find ourselves today as they have done in the past. To begin our investigation, we must first understand the relationship between media literacies and the cyber or digital literacy. For further information, I will give you to Ms. Jelani May.
Now, let's proceed to media literacy. Media literacy builds upon the foundation of traditional literacy and offers new forms of reading and writing. Media literacy empowers people to be critical thinkers and makers, effective communicators, and active citizens. And around the world, there is a sharply growing realization among educators that it is essential to teach people to understand the media and their messages. Media literacy has been defined as the ability to access, analyze, evaluate, and create messages across a variety of contexts. This definition produced by the U.S. in 1992 National Leadership Conference. The term media literacy is often used interchangeable with other terms related to media and media technologies. To clarify the meaning of media literacy, namely offers these definitions. Media refers to all electronic or digital means and print or artistic visuals used to transmit messages. While literacy is the ability to encode and decode symbols and to synthesize and analyze messages. Next, media literacy. Media literacy is the ability to encode and decode the symbols transmitted via media and the ability to synthesize, analyze, and produce mediated messages. Media education is the study of media, including hands-on experiences and media productions. So, the media literacy education is the educational field dedicated to teaching the skills associated with the media literacy. Now, let's move on to digital literacy. According to Martin in 2006, digital literacy is the awareness, attitude, and ability of individuals to appropriately use digital tools and facilities to identify, access, manage, integrate, evaluate, analyze, and synthesize digital resources, construct new knowledge, create media expressions, and communicate with others in the context of specific life situations in order to enable constructive social actions and to reflect upon this process. So, digital literacy is not a significantly less equivocal concept than that of information services. It is one of numerous new literacies that has been introduced and discussed in various disciplinary contexts during the last couples of decades. To guide your exploration of media that surround you, the Center for Media Literacy developed these five core concepts. First, all media messages are constructed, so it means media texts are built just as surely as buildings and highways are built. The key behind this concept is figuring out who constructed the message out of what materials and to what effect. Second, media messages are constructed using a creative language with its own rules. So each form of communication has its own creative language, scary music, high-touch fear, camera close-up, convey intimacy, big headlines, signal significance, understanding the grammar, syntax, and metaphor of media language. It helps us to be less susceptible to manipulation. Third is different people experience the same media message differently. So it means audience play a role in interpreting media message because each audience member brings to the message a unique set of life experiences. Differences in age, gender, education, and cultural upbringing will generate unique
Interpretation.
so, fourth is media have been embedded values and point of view. So this means because they are constructed, media messages carry a subtext of who and what is important, at least to the person or people creating the message. The choice of a character's age, gender, or race, the selection of a setting, and the actions within the plot are just some of the ways that values become embedded in a television show, a movie, or advertisement. Last one is most media messages are organized to gain profit and or power. So this simply means that much of the world's media were developed as money-making enterprises. Newspapers and magazines lay out their pages with ad first. The space remaining is devoted to news. Likewise, commercials are part and parcel of most television watching. Now, the internet has become an international platform through which groups or individuals can attempt. By considering the core concepts behind every media message, you equip yourself with an ability to analyze and interpret a message and to accept or reject its legitimacy.
We live in a world where media are omnipresent. An increasing number of people spend a great deal of time watching television, reading newspapers and magazines, playing records, and listening to radio. In some countries, for example, children already spend more time watching television than they do attending to school. Rather than condemn or endorse the undoubted power of media, we need to accept their significant impact and penetration throughout the world as an established fact, and also appreciate their importance as an element of culture in today's world. Too often, the gap between the education experience they offer the real world in which people live is disturbingly wide. By this part, let's discuss the challenges of media literacy education. So the school and the family share the responsibility of preparing young person for living in a world of powerful image, words, and sounds. Children and adults need to be literate in all three of these symbolic systems, and this will require some reassessment of educational priority. Media education will be most effective when parents, teachers, media personnel, and decision makers all knowledge they have a role to play in developing greater critical awareness among listeners, viewers, and readers. The greater integration of educational and communication systems would be undoubtedly be an important step toward more effective education. Competent authorities must initiate and support comprehensive media education programs from preschool to university level and in adult education. Develop training courses for teachers, intermediaries, both increase their knowledge and understanding of the media and train them in appreciate teaching methods, which would take into account the already considerable but fragmented acquaintance with the media already processed or possessed by many students. Stimulate research and development activities for the benefits of media education from such domains as psychology, sociology, and communication science. Livingstone and Van der Graaf 2011. One challenge is then how to reach people to promote media literacy, underpinning the skills and knowledge for flexible, engaged, participatory, and competitive society, especially for adults no longer in the formal education system. Another challenge is how to measure media literacy and evaluate the success of media literacy initiatives. Our responsible educators will not ignore these developments but will work alongside with their students in understanding them and making sense of such consequences as the rapid development of two-way communication and the ensuring individualization and access of information. That ends my discussion.
Hello everyone, this is Jessara speaking, and now let's tackle about the digital literacy. What is digital literacy? When we say digital literacy, so according to Jones Cavalier and Flanagan 2008, it is the ability to read and interpret media through text, sounds, and images, to reproduce data and images through digital manipulation, and to evaluate and apply new knowledge gained from digital environments. And there are 7 dimensions of literacies that can be identified. First, the tool literacy, or the ability to understand and use the practical and conceptual tools of current information technology. These include softwares, hardware, and multimedia that are relevant to education and the areas of work and professional life that the individual expects to inhabit. Second, resource literacy, or the ability to understand the form, format, location, and access methods of information resources, especially daily expanding network information resources. Third, social structural literacy, or knowing that and how information is socially situated and produced. Fourth, literacy, or the ability to understand and use the IT-based tools relevant to the work of today's researcher and scholar. Fifth, publishing literacy, or the ability to format and publish research and ideas electronically and textual and multimedia forms, including via World Wide Web, electronic mail, and distribution lists and CD-ROMs to introduce them into the electronic public realm and the electronic community of scholars. Sixth, emerging technology literacy, or the ability to ongoingly adapt to understand, evaluate, and make use of the continually emerging innovations in information technology, so as not to be a prisoner of prior tools and resources. And lastly, the critical literacy, or the ability to evaluate critically the intellectual, human, and social strengths and weaknesses, potentials and limits, benefits and costs of information technologies. According to Bowden 2008, as cited by Tang and Chow 2016, explains that the concept of digital literacy is very broad and can include very specific skills and competencies to general awareness and perspectives. He distinguishes four components of digital literacy, and these are the underpinnings, background, knowledge, central competencies, and the attitudes and perspective. Now, let's move on to the four components of digital literacy. Underpinnings is the ability to read and write as well as to use software packages and computers. Second, background knowledge, an understanding of how digital and non-digital information is created from various forms of resources and communicated. Central competencies, the ability to assemble knowledge from multiple sources, and attitudes and perspectives, the ability to learn independently as well as to exhibit good behavior in a digital environment.
Conceptual framework for the concepts of digital literacy. Alkali 2004 proposes a new conceptual framework for the concept of digital literacy, incorporating five types of literacy. So the first one is the photo-visual literacy, then the reproduction literacy, and the third one is the information literacy, and the fourth one is the branching literacy, and the last one is the socio-emotional literacy. So, the photo-visual literacy, it is a literacy of how we gather information and interpret the story of images and photographs we see. And the reproduction literacy is the ability to create a meaningful, authentic, and creative work or interpretation by integrating existing, independent pieces of information. And the information literacy is the ability to find, evaluate, organize, use, and communicate information in all its various formats. So, most notably in situations requiring decision making, problem solving, or the acquisition of knowledge. And the branching literacy. So, branching literacy is the ability to construct knowledge via non-linear navigation through knowledge domains such as in the internet and other hypermedia environments. So, lastly, the socio-emotional literacy. Social emotional learning is vital for students because it teaches them crucial life skills, including the ability to understand themselves, develop a positive self image, take responsibility for their actions, and forge relationships with the people around them. So, the review of the literature and observations of users at work, as well as many years of experiences in planning digital environments for children and adults in both industry and academia indicates that these types of digital literacy encompass most of the cognitive skills applied when using digital environments. So, accordingly, this conceptual framework may enhance the understanding of how users perform with tasks that require the utilizations of different types of digital skills. So the next one is the digital learners. Apiti and Cantoni 2010 coined a new term, learners of digital era or low D, and suggests that age is not the sole factor to be considered. The low D perspective is summarized by the following four facets. So the first is the focus is on person. So the first word refers to them. Second is the perspective is anthropological, pedagogical, so the chosen word is learning. The third is not only young people learn through ICT, is a knowledge society. Then the last one is the lesson learned from the digital natives. So the pervasion of digital technologies in everyday life has a great impact on learning experiences, but we should refuse to apply the digital adjective to people and imply generational divides. So furthermore, according to Rapiti and Cantoni 2010, formulated the following characteristic of the digital learner. So first is to focus on learners rather than persons who should realize the possibilities and potentials of digital technologies in their environments and recognize the value of technology and the opportunity it presents the learner in his or her daily life. And second, it argues that learners are not merely users or consumers of technology. Then third, it highlights the complicities of learners' technology experiences. And fourth, it rejects the generational boundary and any chronological generations that exclude other types of actors who shares similar practices and does not assume any predefined learner's characteristics. And lastly, is to adapt a socio-cultural, anthropological, communicational, and pedagogical approach from the learner's perspective.
In today's world where technology is revolving, being literate doesn't simply mean to having the skills to be able to read, write, and speak, but also having the ability to identify and use technology confidently, creatively, and critically to meet the demands and challenges of living, learning, and working in a digital society. Good day everyone, I am Maria Jerlyn Bino from BTLEd 3 and I will be discussing about the challenges to digital literacy education. So there are 6 challenges: the digital citizen, the digital learning environment, digital learning, digital school, teacher, and students. So first we have the digital citizen. So digital citizen simply means a person who develops the skills and knowledge to effectively use the internet and digital technologies. So we have here digital citizenship as good digital safety and good digital etiquette. So as it applies specifically to the internet, digital citizenship is the set of best practices that describe how a person can navigate safely, ethically, and appropriately on the World Wide Web. So this includes efficacy. A digital citizen who adheres to best practices is able to use the internet effectively for whatever lawful purpose without compromising their security and that of others. So when it comes to cyberbullying and privacy, a good digital citizen follows something akin to the golden rule of the internet. So when you engage with others online, treat them the way you want to be treated. This brings us to etiquette. Second is digital learning environment. So as we currently live in technological world and looking at the rapid technological advancements and changes, higher education institutes must have taken a call to upgrade their curriculum and resources, such as regular update of curriculum embedded with latest technology, classroom facilities with digital technology, and usage of digital tools and techniques for effective learning. So teaching and assessment so that the classes are interesting and engaging. Third one is the digital learning. So when we refer to digital learning, what we mean is the process of being a participant of a teaching of any topic through the use of technology and most of the time using the internet. Digital learning was based on different approaches. So which is the digital learning with, about, above, and behind and without digital technology. So learning with digital technologies means learning by doing and solving problems. Learning about digital technology is an inquiry-based activity to understand the functioning of technology. So learning above and behind technology implies considering technology as a control device and regarding its implications to our identity, safety, and freedom. And learning without digital technology means to reactivate our bodies to learn with and through them. Fourth one is the digital school. So a school is a special concentration of resources to promote learning. So learning is guaranteed who, what, when, how much, or deep, it depends. A supporting, empowering school is much better oriented success for all, which is much more profitable in social terms. So providing the school with adequate resources for inclusive digital learning means catering for a really competent digital society. The fifth one is the digital teachers. So teachers nowadays are connected citizens in general. So digitally literate teachers see technology for all of its creative potential, rather than something they are mandated to do in a step-by-step fashion. Digital literacy doesn't require that teachers become experts, but it does require that they understand the digital tools that can unlock their deeper teaching potential. So teachers as specialized workers needs to possess skills and needs the best tools to produce the best results, including digital tools. So it makes sense to assume that the more digitally literate our teachers are, the more they'll employ these skills in the classroom, which will in turn foster a strong sense of digital citizenship in our students or the learners. So the last one is the digital students. The real challenge implies offering students a school environment as stimulating in relating to learning as the outside of school environment. A stimulating classroom environment has benefits in terms of engaging students in the learning process and enhancing their educational experience. So the more students' interest and sense are piqued, the more engaged they'll become with the content being taught. So these are the 6 challenges to digital literacy education. So I hope you gain something from our discussion or our report. So before we will end our discussion, allow me to leave a quote with you.